Well, hello everyone. If I look a little bit disgusted when I make this video, I just want you to know that my dog Noisy is in here. And we just changed his dog food. And it's, I think he's having some trouble getting used to it, although he does seem to like it. So anyway, I'm a little disgusted by the topic I have today, but I'm also I probably ought to open a window, to be honest. Anyway, we're at the end of March finally, and it's been quite a month, and it seems like things would plateau at some point, but I don't think they are going to. I think it's just going to be a wild ride until someone or something steps in and fixes it. And we don't know when that will be. So I just continue to try to hang in there. And last night I kind of got into an altercation. Again, but this time it was not with somebody who was MAGA. This time it was a liberal. And I've mentioned this before, but I'm not really a liberal. I'm more of a centrist. I like a lot of liberal policies. I'm voting for liberals right now because they're not MAGA. But I don't really like some of the things that sometimes liberals get a little bit carried away with political correctness. And it just gets ridiculous, you know. They have some of them. They get a little bit lecturing and shaming, and I honestly think that attitude is in part why we have this MAGA movement right now. There are a number of reasons why, but I think this is one reason. People don't like to be scolded and shamed and harassed for what they say, especially if it's just a casual comment. And that's kind of what happened last night. It was early evening. I was on some page for, I think it was called Fear and Loathing in Conservatives or something. It might have been a different page, but the topic was Governor Greg Abbott, who is the leader of Texas right now. And I am a voter in Texas because when my husband retired from the Army, we were living there. So when I vote in Texas. And I do make a point of voting every year if I can. Have to do it absentee. And sometimes it doesn't work out right because you don't get your mail in time. But I did vote in the last election. And I make a point of voting whenever I can. And I don't like Greg Abbott. I think that he has enacted some really bad policies that have not been helpful, especially to women and people who are in the situation that he's in. In case you don't know, he is paralyzed and has been paralyzed since 1984. And he's a very wealthy man because I think he got millions of dollars after this accident that paralyzed him. But then he enacted laws that would make it difficult or impossible for people in his position to do the same as what he did. And personally, I don't like him because I think that he's anti-woman, and he's created a lot of problems for women who need abortion care. I'm very, very pro-choice. But I especially am pro-choice because there are times when women need to have abortions, and often for medical reasons that are no one else's business. And I have seen too many headlines of women who have had to flee the state or are left in parking lots bleeding, waiting until they are sick enough for doctors to take care of them. It's like playing chicken with women's lives. So that's why I don't like him. And I don't like Ken Paxton either. I really don't like Ken Paxton. So this is all leading up to my point, and somebody was commenting about how Jasmine Crockett, who is also a Texas representative, referred to Greg Abbott as Governor Hot Wheels. And a lot of people were delighted by it, and I will admit I was too. Apparently that is a very common nickname for him in Texas. I didn't know that because I haven't lived in Texas in 10 years and he was not governor when I left. But that's what people call him there. And I'm sure he's been called much worse things. Well, there was a guy named Dan on that thread about Jasmine Crockett who was lecturing and shaming people for thinking it was funny. And there were a few people that were arguing with him, and he basically said, well, if you think that it's okay to call him that, then obviously you think that way about everybody who is disabled. You just mock disabled people. And I said, well, no, we're not mocking everybody. That's pretty much all I said. In fact, I have never called Greg Abbott Governor Hot Wheels, because as I said, I didn't even know that was a thing. But I don't really care that people call him that. I think he deserves it, frankly. If that's all he's being called, then he's lucky. And anyway, this guy decided to come at me. And, I just said, look, he has made policies that have hurt people. And I just don't think that lecturing people on the internet is going to do anything. People, they don't have any sympathy. And this dude came back at me and accused me of being hateful to disabled people. And I was just like, your shaming comments are not working on me. And he came back for more. And then I said, you got a problem with boundaries, don't you? This is the type of person that will lecture you and shame you about something that they have a personal agenda or a belief in, and they will come at somebody else they don't even know and make defamatory and false insults to them. It's a little bit ridiculous, isn't it? It's because it's like you're upset that people who are justifiably pissed off at Greg Abbott are calling him Governor Hot Wheels, which I think is a pretty tame nickname for him. And your response as you lecture them about name calling is to name call and to insult. And so this fellow, he told me that I have no morals or decency. And I said, you don't even know me. And he goes, I could tell you don't have any morals and decency, blah, 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 blah. And for all I know, I really don't know what his problem was. He might have had an issue himself. But I could have been disabled. He didn't know. You just don't know. But it was very pointless and stupid. And I was like, I think that you are a massive hypocrite. And he said, how so? And I said, because you are lecturing and shaming me about Governor Abbott, about using what you think of as a derogatory nickname for him, which I haven't even actually done. But yet you keep calling me names. You keep saying that I'm morally depraved and indecent. And it's defamatory. It's wrong. And you're a hypocrite. And I don't think that this method that you've employed is working. You're wasting time. And I've got other things to do. So have a good day. And I think he came back, but I didn't bother to read it. I normally wouldn't engage with somebody like that. Normally I would have blocked him, but I was kind of in a mood last night. My husband's getting ready to go away again on another trip, and so I don't know, I guess I was feeling a little feisty. But yeah, this is a problem on both sides of the spectrum. And I think it's guys like Dan that give us leaders like Trump, because Trump says whatever's on his mind, and there are a lot of people who think that's cool, and they egg it on. And then you get these other people who are just as bad as Trump, as far as I'm concerned. They're just as bad because they don't have any empathy, and they don't stop and think, should I be harassing this stranger on the internet, making very personal and defamatory insults to them because they're not agreeing with me? They're not backing down and accepting the shame. So, I don't know. I wish Dan well. I hope he is feeling better today. I don't think that his method is working very well, though. And I won't be pulling out my violin to play a song of sorrow for Governor Abbott. For one thing, I don't own a violin. I don't know how to play, and if I did try, it would probably be worse than my guitar playing. But I also, seriously, I think it's hilarious that Jasmine Crockett called him Governor Hot Wheels, especially when Abbott aligns himself with a man who doesn't have a problem mocking reporters and women and people that he thinks are against him. We have a president who name calls everybody, and Greg Abbott is firmly lodged up his ass. So if all he's being called is Governor Hot Wheels, I think that's okay. Now, I think I will get off the internet and go into town and perhaps drop off some things to get framed and escape the stench of Noisy's farts. So have a nice Saturday.